The text came at midnight. Just signed the papers to sell Chen Manufacturing. $40 million. Not bad for a company our old man built from scraps. Don't worry, little sister. I'll send you a Christmas card from my new beach house. I stared at Daniel's message, my hands steady as I took a screenshot and added it to my growing collection of evidence. My brother always did love to gloat. My name is Emily Chen, and I was about to teach Daniel a lesson of the difference between inheritance and earned success. The irony was, if he'd bothered to attend any board meetings in the past year instead of jet-setting around Europe on Dad's old yacht, he might have noticed what I'd been building. But Daniel had always been like that, showing up only when it was time to take credit or collect profits. I switched to my email, sending a quick message to our company's CFO. It's time. Activate phase 1. The response came immediately. Already done. He won't know what hit him. 12 hours later, I sat in my office at Chen Manufacturing, watching the morning light filter through the floor-to-ceiling windows. This building, these machines humming in the background, the hundreds of employees arriving for their morning shift. It was all part of our parents' legacy. A legacy Daniel was trying to sell to the highest bidder. Mom and Dad had built this company from nothing after immigrating from China in the 1980s. They started in a tiny garage, Dad handling the engineering while Mom managed the books. By the time they died in a car accident last year, Chen Manufacturing was supplying precision parts to major automotive companies across 3 continents. My phone buzzed, a call from Rachel, my best friend since college and now our head of legal. Emily, you need to see this. Daniel just sent the preliminary sales agreement to the board. The numbers. They're not what he thinks they are. I smiled, opening my laptop. Send it over. The document appeared in my inbox moments later. There it was in black and white. Daniel's grandiose plan to sell our family's company to Titan Industries, a corporate giant known for buying family businesses and stripping them for parts. What my brother hadn't realized was that over the past year, while he was busy spending company money on luxury cars and younger girlfriends, I'd been quietly restructuring everything. Each board meeting he skipped, each document he signed without reading, brought me one step closer to protecting what our parents had built. Did you see page 17? Rachel asked, still on the line. The shared distribution clause? Yes, he still thinks he controls 51% of the company because he's the eldest son. Rachel's laugh was sharp. Should we tell him about the trust conversion? Not yet. Let him figure it out when he tries to close the deal. After hanging up, I walked through the factory floor, greeting employees by name. Unlike Daniel, who couldn't tell a laugh from a drill press, I'd spent every summer here since I was 16, learning every aspect of the business from the ground up. Dad used to say, success isn't inherited, it's earned. Daniel never understood that. He thought being the firstborn son entitled him to everything, the company, the respect, the legacy. He'd never bothered to learn the business, assuming it would simply fall into his lap. My phone buzzed again, this time with a message from Daniel. Board meeting tomorrow at 9. Try not to embarrass yourself when I announce the sale. I typed back, wouldn't miss it. That evening, I met with key members of our management team at my house. The same house where Mom and Dad had hosted countless company celebrations, where they taught me the value of treating employees like family. Everything's in place, reported Mark, our operations manager. The audit records, the trust documents, everything. And the employees? I asked. Sarah from HR smiled. They're ready. Every single one of them signed the statement. I looked around the room at these people who'd worked alongside my parents for decades, who'd watched Daniel's increasingly erratic behavior over the past year with growing concern. Tomorrow's going to be difficult, I said. Are you all sure about this? Mark spoke first, his voice firm. Your parents didn't build this company to have it torn apart by Titan Industries. We're with you. The next morning, I arrived early at the office, watching the sunrise paint the Chen Manufacturing sign in shades of gold. Mom had designed that sign herself, incorporating elements that symbolized both our Chinese heritage and American dreams. At 8:45, Daniel strutted into the building, flanked by representatives from Titan Industries. He'd gotten a haircut, bought a new suit, playing the role of successful businessman for his potential buyers. Emily, he called out, using the nickname he knew I hated. Ready to watch Big Brother make history. I met his smug smile with a calm one of my own. Absolutely. The boardroom filled quickly, company executives, legal representatives, and the Titan Industries team all taking their seats. Daniel stood at the head of the table, practically bouncing with self-importance. Ladies and gentlemen, he began, today marks a new chapter for Chen Manufacturing. I'm pleased to announce that Titan Industries has agreed to purchase our company for $40 million. He paused, clearly expecting applause. None came. The paperwork is ready, he continued, slightly flustered. As majority shareholder and CEO. I'm sorry, I interrupted, standing up, but there seems to be some confusion about that. Daniel's smile flickered. About what? Your position. You're not the CEO, Daniel. You haven't been for 6 months. The room went silent as I pulled out a folder and began distributing documents. What are you talking about? Daniel demanded, his face reddening. Of course I'm the CEO. Dad left me in charge. Dad left you as interim CEO. I corrected, subject to board approval and contingent on your active participation in company management. Would you like to know how many board meetings you've attended in the past year? The Titan Industries representatives were flipping through the documents I handed out, their expressions growing increasingly concerned. These attendance records, one of them said, show Mr. Chen has only been present for 2 out of 24 mandatory meetings. Daniel waved his hand dismissively. That's just paperwork. I own 51% of this company. I can sell it if I want to. This was the moment I'd been waiting for. I nodded to Rachel, who stood up. Actually, she said, according to the trust conversion executed by your parents before their death, your shares were contingent on meeting certain management participation requirements you failed to meet. She turned to the Titan Industries team. I'm afraid Mr. Chen no longer has the authority to negotiate this sale. Daniel's face went from red to purple. You're lying. This is impossible. I pulled out one final document, the trust agreement our parents had signed 2 months before their accident. They knew Daniel. They knew you'd try something like this. That's why they put safeguards in place. The Titan Industries representatives were already packing up their briefcases, making polite but hasty excuses. This isn't over, Daniel snarled, pointing at me. You think you can steal my company? No, Daniel. I think I can save our parents' company. There's a difference. As security escorted him from the building, I sat down in our father's old chair, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on my shoulders. Phase 1 was complete, but the real work was just beginning. My phone buzzed, a message from Rachel. Ready for Phase 2? I looked out at the factory floor, where employees were gathering, waiting to hear what would happen next. They trusted me, supported my plan, believed in my vision for the company's future. Yes, I replied. It's time to show everyone what Chen Manufacturing can really do. The media coverage started the next day. Family drama at Chen Manufacturing. CEO ousted in failed sale attempt. Read the headlines. My phone was flooded with calls from reporters, all wanting to know how the quiet younger sister had outmaneuvered her flashy brother. I ignored them all, focusing instead on the message that had just arrived from Daniel's lawyer. Our client contests the validity of the trust conversion. Prepare for legal action. I forwarded it to Rachel, who responded immediately. Let him try. Your parents made everything ironclad. The next few weeks were a blur of activity. While Daniel waged his legal battle, I concentrated on strengthening the company. Every morning, I arrived before sunrise, just like Dad used to do. Every evening, I was the last to leave, reviewing contracts, meeting with team leaders, learning everything I could about where we could improve. You don't have to do everything yourself, Mark said one night, finding me still at my desk at 9 p.m. That's what got Daniel in trouble, thinking he had to be the one in control of everything. I looked up from the production reports I was reviewing. I'm not trying to control everything. I'm trying to understand everything. There's a difference. And there was. Unlike Daniel, who saw the company as his personal ATM, I saw it as a living thing, thousands of moving parts that had to work together. Every decision affected real people with real families. A month after the failed sale, I called an all-hands meeting in the main factory floor. Hundreds of employees gathered, their faces a mix of curiosity and concern. Many of you have worked here for decades, I began. You helped my parents build this company from nothing. When they died, my brother saw that legacy as his birthright, but I see it differently. I clicked to the first slide of my presentation, our new company structure. Starting today, Chen Manufacturing is becoming an employee-owned company. Every full-time employee will receive shares, with additional shares available based on years of service. The room erupted in murmurs. This was what I'd been working on for the past year, transforming the company into something that couldn't be sold out from under the people who'd helped build it. My parents believed in building things that last, I continued. Not just machines, but relationships, community, future. That's what we're going to do together. The applause was deafening. In the back of the room, I saw older employees wiping away tears. They'd known my parents, understood exactly what this meant. Later that afternoon, Rachel rushed into my office. Daniel's lawyer just filed an emergency injunction, trying to stop the employee ownership transition. They're requesting a hearing next week. I nodded, already prepared for this. Good. Time to show the judge exactly why we did this. The hearing was set for Tuesday morning. I arrived at the courthouse early, dressed in one of Mom's old suits that I'd tailored. Daniel showed up late, looking disheveled, with an expensive lawyer at his side. This is theft, he declared as soon as the judge asked him to explain his position. My sister has stolen my birthright through legal trickery. I sat quietly as his lawyer presented their case, claiming the trust conversion was invalid, that our parents couldn't have intended to disinherit their son. When it was our turn, Rachel stood up. Your Honor, we'd like to present evidence of why the trust conversion was not only valid but necessary. For the next hour, we showed the judge everything. Daniel's absences from board meetings, his misuse of company funds, the trail of poor decisions that had nearly bankrupted us twice. But the most damaging evidence came from an unexpected source. We'd like to play a video, Rachel announced, recorded by James and Margaret Chen 6 months before their deaths. Daniel's head snapped up as our parents appeared on the courtroom screen. They were sitting in Dad's study, looking serious but determined. If you're watching this, Dad began, it means Daniel has tried to sell the company. We knew this day might come. Our son has many qualities. But he never understood what we built here isn't just a business. It's a family. Mom spoke next, her voice gentle but firm. Emily, if you're seeing this, it means you've done what we hoped, protected not just the company, but the people who make it work. The trust conversion wasn't about punching your brother. It was about preserving our real legacy. By the time the video ended, Daniel had slumped in his chair, all his bluster gone. The judge took only 15 minutes to make his decision. The trust conversion stands, he declared. Furthermore, Mr. Chen's claims of theft are dismissed with prejudice. Outside the courthouse, Daniel caught up to me. You've ruined everything, he spat. I could have made us rich. I turned to face him, really looking at my brother for the first time in months. We were already rich, Daniel, not just in money, but in what Mom and Dad built. You just never saw it. So that's it? I get nothing. You get exactly what the trust stipulates, a living allowance, contingent on you seeking employment and counseling. The choice is yours. He stormed off, but I noticed his shoulders were slumped, defeated. For the first time, he looked less like the entitled heir and more like a lost son. Back at the factory, the transformation was already underway. Employee owners walked with new purpose, offering suggestions, taking initiative. We landed 3 major new contracts in the first month alone. 6 months later, I stood on the factory floor again, this time celebrating our most profitable quarter ever. The employee ownership program had energized everyone, leading to innovations and efficiencies we never imagined. Your parents would be proud, Mark said, watching the celebrations. They'd be proud of all of us, I replied. That evening, as I was leaving the office, I found an unexpected visitor waiting in the lobby. Emily, Daniel said, I've been in therapy, trying to understand everything. I waited, letting him find the words. I never saw it, what Mom and Dad were really building. I just saw the money, the status. But watching what you've done here, he gestured at the bustling factory beyond the windows. I get it now. What do you want, Daniel? He pulled out a piece of paper, a job application. I want to learn, really learn from the ground up. If you'll let me. I studied my brother's face, seeing something new there, humility, maybe even wisdom. Start Monday, I said. 6 a.m. sharp. You'll work with Mark in operations, learning every machine, every process, no shortcuts. His smile was different now, smaller, but more real. Thank you, Emily. As I watched him leave, I thought about mom and dad, about legacy and learning, about the difference between inheriting something and earning it. The next morning, I arrived at my usual time, before sunrise. The factory was quiet, but not for long. Soon, it would pulse with life, with purpose, with the dreams of hundreds of employee owners working to build something lasting. My phone buzzed, a message from Rachel. "Did you really hire Daniel?" "Everyone deserves a chance to earn their place," I replied. "Even him." And that was the real lesson, wasn't it? Success isn't about what you're given. It's about what you build, who you help along the way, and the legacy you choose to create. Dad used to say every machine in the factory had a story. Now I understood. We all have stories. The trick is making sure they're worth telling.